Hi guys, it's Sherry. I hope that you're having a fantastic day. So earlier we made these beautiful, beautiful little Christmas cards and tags. Simple but elegant. And we need a holder. So y'all stay tuned and I am going to show you a next level holder that you can make. And here it is, guys. Isn't this just absolutely adorable? It is so stinking cute. I can't stand it. And what it is a note card holder or a Christmas card holder, whatever you want to put in it, that's what it can be. And it has this wonderful little magnetic closure on the front. Beautiful, beautiful Frank Garcia paper. And I used a D-ring as my closure here, and I added these really cute little charms to the front. So when you open it up, this is what you have. So you have two sections. You have the top section here, which actually holds the note cards or the Christmas cards. And then you have the smaller section here for the tags. And this is super simple, super easy. I'll let you see how it looks from the top. It looks like a little stationary desk. And it is absolutely gorgeous, and we are going to make this. So let's get started. Okay guys, so we are going to need to join two pieces of paper, and I am going to join these two pieces. This is the back side, but I want this to be the front. So I will be joining it this way, which means that when I do my fold over, my front is going to be this. So I am going to bring in some of my tape and just lay down a strip of tape. And then I'll come back and cut this. And now I can take the tape up and join my two pretty pieces of paper together. And this paper measures 8 by 8. So I am going to put it down just like this. And then I'll come back in with my chipboard pieces and lay them down. So I have a chipboard piece that measures 2 by 6. And what I'm going to do is I am going to place it down so that the joint in the back is in the center of my chipboard piece. And that's because I don't want the joint being shown. So I don't want the joint to appear on the front. I want it to appear on the bottom, just like that. All right, so then I'll bring in my second piece of chipboard, which measures 5 by 6. And I am going to place that down using about 1/8 of an inch in spacing. And then I'll bring in my second piece of chipboard, which measures 5 by 6. And then I will do what you guys always see me do, which is fold over my edges and then trim it. So I'm going to miter cut all 4 sides. And then I'll come back with my tape, and I'm going to place tape on all 4 corners. All right, so my tape is down, and I've taken it up, and I am going to go ahead and just place my, fold over my edges, and go ahead and get this little cutie stuck down. And I'll do this on all 4 sides. All right, guys, so before I move on to the next step, I need to go ahead and make a little clasp or a little holder for my D-ring. And so what I'm doing is just taking a scrap piece, and I'll come back with my glue, and I'm just going to place some glue down here, just like that. And I'm going to get this closed and stuck. And then I can take my D-ring and put it through here. And then just position it on the front here. And I have to do this before I actually place the liner piece because I want the ring to have brads. And so all I'm going to do at this point is take some glue, close this. I'm going to go ahead and grab a couple of my brads and my little paper piercer. So then I'm going to cut off just a little bit of this because I don't need this much. And now I'm going to take this. I've decided that I want this to be my front because it has Santa on it, and I think that's really cute. So I'm going to take this and glue it down. And I will have a link to the supplies that I'm using in this project in the description box. So please check there for the tape, the D-ring, and anything else that I'm using on this project, and I'll have it linked. Okay, so we've got that down, and now all I want to do is come back and punch holes so that I can run my brads through. And I'll put in my pretty little brads just like that. And then I'm going to flip this over and open my brads and get them stuck down. And just like that, I've got my D-ring on the front, and it looks so cute. Okay, so now I can place my liner piece, guys, and I have put tape on the inside, and now I'm going to run some tape along the edges of this beautiful paper that has Santa and the gold foiling on it, and that's what I want showing. So I'm going to run my glue on this side of the paper, and I'm going to give it a nice coating so that my glue and my paper will stick together very well. And I am using reptile glue, and like I said, everything will be in the description box. So let's go ahead and just place this down. I'm going to try to get it even. And then I'm going to come back with my paper towel, and that's the first thing I'll use to get everything kind of stuck down. And I'll come back and I'll work my paper towel. And then I'm going to bring in my bone folder to kind of get that glue really stuck in there. And all I'm doing is checking to make sure that my edges and my corners are down nice and tight. Okay, so we have that, and doesn't that just look fantastic? So I'm going to set this to the side because now we need to work on the boxes that go inside, and we're going to place our larger box first. Okay guys, so we need to make our large inside box, and the paper that I have for this measures 10 7/8 by 6. And what I'm going to do is score this at 1 and at 2, and then I'll turn it and I'll score at 1 and at 2, and then I'll turn it again and score at 1 and at 2. And then at the top I am going to score this at 3/8 of an inch. So now I'll come back and I am going to fold on my score lines. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but I actually scored on the wrong side of my paper. If I really wanted to prevent this from cracking, which I do, I should have scored on the side that I want showing outward. And I placed it in upside down, but it doesn't look like it's cracking. So I'm very thankful for that. Okay, so then I'll come back in with my scissors, and I am going to be removing some. So I am going to remove the 2 corner pieces here at the bottom. And I'll remove the corner piece over here, the two corner pieces. And then I am going to cut up, there's a score line here. I'm going to cut up to the score line, not through it, but just to it. And then I'll angle this so that it'll fold in nice and even. And I'll do that on the other side. There is a score mark. So I am simply going to cut up to the score line, not through it, but to it. Just like that. And then we have to do some cutting at the top. So we need to take this piece here. It's a small rectangle piece, and we need to remove it completely. And then we need to cut at the next score line because we're going to have a little tab that we're just going to fold over. So let's just go ahead and cut that like that. And then I'm going to cut this just a little bit too. And then I'll do the same thing over here. So I am simply cutting out a small V. And then I'll cut this. And I'll remove this corner rectangle all together. So when you are finished with all of your cuts, this is how it should look. So now we can put this together, but the first thing I want to do before I put it together is I want to go ahead and put down my mat. And you want to make sure that it's going to fit inside of your score lines and not over the score lines. So there, we've got a nice little fit on that. So I'm going to come back with my glue and just fold over this top part. Just like that. And then I have two side pieces that measure 3.5 by 1, and I am going to take off just a little bit because they look like they could be a little wide, and I want them not to be wide. So I'm going to remove some of that, and I'm also going to remove just a little bit. And then I can take these and I can place it right inside just like that. And I'm going to do the same thing with the other side. So I'm just going to remove some. And then I'll remove some from the bottom as well. And then I'll take this and I'm going to put this down just like this. And then I'll come back with my glue and I'm going to fold this over. And guys, don't worry about this showing. I'm going to go back and cover that, even though you wouldn't be able to see it because of the way the box is going to be facing. I'm still going to cover it. But for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show you the construction of this wonderful box. So next what we need to do is just take our tabs and glue them. And we are going to put this box together. So I'm just going to bring that up just like that. And I'll set it down and come in on the inside and just make sure my glue is nice and stuck. And I'll do the same thing on this side. I'm going to bring it up, get it nice and stuck, and then I will come in with my bone folder just like that. And then I'm going to bring this up just like this and get this stuck. And my box is pretty much done, except I want to put a piece of chipboard in the bottom. So then I'll bring this around just like this. I'm going to hold it to make sure that it's stuck. And then I'll come over and do this side. Pull it in and get it nice and stuck. Okay, so we've got it just like that. And now I can take my bottom piece and put it in. And I'm going to check this before I do, because I do need to remove some of this. I can tell that it's just too wide. So I cut it at 1 inch, but I'm going to reduce it to about 7/8 of an inch. and you'll want to test yours as well just to make sure. And then I'm going to remove just a little bit of the end so that I won't have any problem getting this to fit. And this is really more of a stabilizer than anything. So I'm just going to tuck this in, come back with my bone folder, get that nice and stuck. All right guys, so here's my box, and all I'm going to do is just place glue all along this. And I am going to get this stuck down, and I'm also going to place glue on the bottom because I want the bottom stuck down. So then I'm going to take this, put it in my box, make sure that I squeeze in my sides and get them nice and stuck. So I'm going to hold this for just a moment so that the bottom can get stuck, and then I'll come back and start smoothing down the inside. All right, so our box that we just inserted is all dry. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to take a piece that measures 4 7/8 by 5 7/8, and I am just going to slide it inside to hide the mechanics of this project. So I am going to bring this, place it inside just like that, get it nice and stuck down. I'll come back in. I'm going to go in with my ruler because I really need to get in there, and that's definitely long enough to do it. And now I can come back with my bone folder and just make sure that everything else is nice and snug the way that I want it to be. And there, you can see what a difference adding that made. It just finishes it off nicely. And as I've said before, it's those little things, just the little things that we do that make our projects so much more special. So let me come back, and now we're going to make the smaller box that sits in the front here. So I am going to bring in my scoreboard, and I have a piece of paper already in that I've scored, and I've scored a piece that measures 8 1/2 by 6 3/4. I have scored that at 7/8, at 1 3/4, at 6 3/4, and at 7 5/8. And then I turned it, and on the 6-inch side I scored this at 7/8 and 1 3/4, and then I scored it at 4 3/8. That's all of the scoring that we need on this. And now I'll do the same thing that I did with the other one. I am just going to fold and burnish my score lines, and then I am going to come back with my scissors, and I am going to remove at the bottom where I've got the 2 7/8 inch scores. I am going to remove the corner rectangle from both sides, and then I will angle cut up. And then I'll come to the top, and there is a corner rectangle here that I need to remove completely on both sides. And I will angle cut this little tab here. And I'll remove the corner rectangle from this side. And then I will angle cut up to this tab here. And when you're all done, this is what you're left with. It should look like this. So now I can come back and I can place my chipboard piece. And I have a piece of chipboard that measures 2 1/2 by 5 that I am simply going to place in the middle. Get that in there. And I'm placing it between the score lines. And then I have 2 pieces of smaller chipboard that measure 7/8 by 2.5, and I am just going to take off a little bit of that because I don't want it to be too wide, and I'm going to remove just a little bit from there. So I'll place that right here, and then I'll place my second piece right there. I'm going to flip this over, come back with my bone folder, make sure all of these are stuck down, and then I can put this together. I am going to bring up my tabs and just put some glue and I'll bring this in just like this, just like I did the other box, and I'll stand it up and I'll come back with my bone folder and get that nice and stuck, and I'll do the same thing on this side. I'm going to bring this in and get this nice and stuck, and then I'll place glue on my tabs here at the top so that I can fold them in, and I'll fold them inside just like this. And like I said, I'm going to come back and clean up the inside, but my purpose here is just to show you guys the construction of this. And I'll do the other one. And now I can come back and I can take this piece, which is a very wide covering, and then I can fold it inside. Just like this. And I'll come across the top and just kind of smooth everything down. And there, that is pretty. So now all I have to do is close my box. Put some glue there, put some glue there, bring this over and close it. And now my box is ready to be placed inside this one. Just like that. And that is going to be very pretty. So all I'm going to do is place glue on the back, just like I did the other one. And I'll place glue on the bottom so it will stick. And then I'm going to run some glue right along this little piece here. And I'm going to put this down, get it positioned real nice and real pretty. And just like that, you can see how pretty that is, and I am going to let this dry. Alright guys, so everything is nice and dry, and I want to go ahead and just clean up this. So I am going to take a piece that measures 4 7/8 by 3.5, and I am going to put it down. And this will just help keep everything nice and neat looking. Just like that. And I'll come back with my bone folder and get everything nice and stuck and smooth. And you can see just how pretty that is. It is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to bring my cards back in and place them in the box so that you'll see that they fit. And I'll also be able to fit 4 envelopes in here with these cards. And then I've got my tags in the front. Everything just looks so pretty. So I am going to come back and just put a little bow, I think. And I think I'm going to stick that bow right there on that wreath. And I think that is so pretty. So now we get to finish our box, and you can see how it looks from the side. Everything is just so pretty. So now we get to finish it, and we're going to make a closure for it. So I need to get a piece of scrap paper. Alright, so I have a scrap piece here, and what I'm doing is figuring out how I actually want this to hold and how I want it to look. So I have my scrap piece, and the size of your scrap piece is totally up to you. So what I'm doing is I know that I want my magnet to catch about right here. So I want my magnet to catch about right here. So what I'm going to do is just pull this out, and I know it's right above the word colorful. So I'm going to bring in my glue, and I am going to just place glue right in there. And I have these two small magnets, and I'm going to place one, making sure that I am beneath the word colorful. And I am. Just like that. So now I'll take this and I'm going to glue it down completely. Just like this. And then I want to take my other magnet and place it down just like this, so that when I fold over, and this will be my fold over piece, my magnet has to hit that. So I am going to place my magnet in this end right down here and have it catch. Okay, so that's the right side. Okay, so now what I need to do is I'm going to need to come back and just place glue all over this, just like this. And then I know that I need to move this magnet down to about right here. And you'll figure out your magnet placement when you're doing it as well. But I need to flip it because I slid it down, so I've got to flip the magnet, bring this over just like that, and then come back and just keep smoothing it out. And then I can bring it through, see if my magnet will catch. And it does. And now I can take this and just wrap it around. But before I do, I'm going to come back and just curl it a little bit to get it nice and neat. And this magnet placement is a little bit tricky, but I hope that you guys have understood what it was I was trying to demonstrate and how I placed the magnet. And you can use another type of closure if you want. I just like to work with magnets because I think they're just so convenient. So now I'm going to hold that just like that to get that to dry. And then I'll come back and I'm just going to bend the paper where the magnet is so that it too curls over just a little bit and gives me a nice finished look. Alright guys, so on this one I decided I would add some jingle bells. On this one I added my charms, and I think that they are both just so delightful, just so cute. And this project is not a difficult project. It just has several components to it that you have to build up to get to this point. But as you can see, the end result is just so fabulous and so beautiful. So I hope that you guys have liked the packaging of my cards. And if you have, please hit the like button. If you are not a subscriber to my channel, I would love to have you join my online crafting family. Y'all have a great day, happy crafting, and we'll chat later. Bye.